Some snakes can sink their fangs into their victim's body in less than 0.15 of a second. That's faster than the blink of an eye. But how do these limbless creatures manage to attack with such speed and precision? Today, in this video, we're going to uncover this mystery. All right, let's head to the Amazon rainforest. Imagine you're walking deep in this jungle. Suddenly, you hear a faint rustling sound coming from the leaves. But before you can react, you feel a sharp sting in one of your legs. What just happened? Unfortunately, a venomous snake has attacked you. But how did this attack happen? Venomous snakes use a complex mechanism to bite, which involves 4 main stages. Stage 1. The attack. The snake strikes at its prey or enemy with incredible speed. This movement can cover up to 1/3 of the snake's body length. The second stage is the opening of the mouth and the raising of the fangs, which itself includes 2 sub-steps. First, by contracting certain muscles, similar to the digastric muscle in mammals, the snake opens its mouth. It's important to know that the digastric muscle is one of the key muscles in the neck and lower jaw area of mammals, and its main function is to open the mouth by lowering the lower jaw. However, in snakes, there are similar muscles responsible for opening and closing the mouth and moving the jaw bones, which function in a way similar to the digastric muscle in mammals. After the snake's mouth opens, the fangs, which are technically called fangs and are normally attached to the roof of the mouth, move downward. But before we move on to the third stage, let's take a moment here to talk a bit more about snake fangs. Some venomous snakes, like vipers or mambas, have 2 special long, hollow teeth that we call fangs. Now, the fangs of some snakes, like vipers, are retractable. When they're not needed, they fold up from a vertical position and lie flat or horizontally against the roof of the mouth. However, some snakes, like cobras, have fixed fangs, and their fangs are always exposed. Let's move on to the third stage, fang penetration and venom injection. At this stage, the snake's fangs, which are connected to the venom glands, act like syringes. They pierce the victim's body, and venom is injected through special channels. In fact, the venom duct is a thin tube that carries the venom from the venom glands to the fangs. This process works like a high-pressure tube. Now we move on to the fourth stage, closing the mouth and retracting the fangs. After the venom is injected, the snake's mouth closes and the fangs return to their original position. Of course, as we mentioned a moment ago, this only happens if the snake's fangs are retractable and foldable. But for example, in the case of cobras, as we mentioned, their fangs always stick out in the same way, whether before or after an attack. Now, the exciting thing is that this whole process happens in less than a second, which means the victim has no chance to react. But the strange thing is that snakes can actually control how much venom they inject. In fact, during defensive strikes, the amount of venom injected can be up to 10 times more than in hunting attacks. Let me explain this a bit more precisely. By defensive attacks, I mean situations where the snake's goal is to protect itself. For example, imagine a snake resting in the wild. Suddenly, it gets startled by the presence of a person or a large animal approaching it and feels threatened. Its defense mechanism is that, since it senses danger and might not have a way to escape, it wants to go all out. That's why it injects a lot of venom to stop the threat right then and there. But during hunting attacks, where the goal is to catch and eat prey, in other words, to get food and survive, the snake might act more economically. What does that mean? It means, for example, imagine the snake wants to hunt a mouse or a squirrel. In that case, it might inject less venom into the prey because its venom supply is limited and making more takes a lot of energy. So, the snake figures it's not worth it to use up a lot of venom on a small prey. This ability allows the snake to have the greatest impact on its enemy in critical situations, especially when it's under extreme stress and its main goal is to save itself. So, injecting venom isn't just a hunting tool, it's also like a weapon for survival. Now, this ability that lets the snake control how much venom it injects is called venometering. Especially in studies and research on cobras, vipers, and rattlesnakes, it's been observed that, in particular, the dose injected during defensive attacks is much higher than during hunting attacks. But the next interesting point is that not all snakes are venomous. This means that all snakes can bite, but not all of them can inject venom. In fact, some snakes, like certain water snakes, have smaller fangs that they mostly use to catch small prey. I mean, of course, the water snakes that live in lakes or streams. As a result, they aren't dangerous to larger animals or humans. And the last strange but true point is that some snakes, like garter snakes, also known as ribbon snakes or grass snakes, have an amazing trait. The garter snake is a relatively small, non-venomous snake that's commonly found in North America. Unlike typical venomous snakes, this snake doesn't produce venom itself. That means it doesn't have its own venom in its body, nor does it have hollow fangs or even venom glands. But the interesting thing is that this snake is clever and pulls off a kind of scientific trick. So how does this work? What's the story? Here's what happens. This snake eats certain special prey, like the rough-skinned newt, which is a poisonous creature, and it absorbs that poison and stores it in its liver. The result is that the poison stays in the snake's body, so if a predator, like a bird or a mammal, gets the urge to eat the snake, it gets poisoned and feels really sick. This means that after one bad experience, predators will avoid this snake for the rest of their lives. So, this whole process basically acts as a kind of chemical shield for the snake. In biology, this phenomenon has a name. It's called toxin storage from a food source. The world of snakes is full of wonders and hidden secrets, especially the mechanism of how snakes bite. It's a perfect example of nature's incredible design. What do you think? Have you ever experienced a snake bite before? Be sure to share your experiences in the comments. Despite being scary, snakes are truly fascinating creatures. Their biting mechanism is a combination of speed, precision, and efficiency that has evolved over millions of years. Now, with a better understanding of this process, we can truly appreciate the importance of preserving and respecting these creatures and work to protect them in their natural habitats.